Welcome to another episode of Follow the Brand TV. I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, a 5-star personal brand and business development company. I want to take you on a journey through another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal stories, business conversations, and tips to improve your brand. By listening to the Follow the Brand TV series, you will differentiate yourself from the competition and build trust with prospective clients and employers. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make it one that will set you apart, build confidence, and reflect who you are. Building your 5-star personal brand is a great way to improve your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or any of my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaugh@5starbdm.com. Now, let's begin with our next episode on the Follow the Brand TV.
Five-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.
And my claim to fame is, warehousing, supply chain, distribution, inventory management. It's kind of my specialty in transforming processes or challenges into efficiencies or excellence. It's forecasting, of course, understanding what your products are, what the time span is between when you order something, how long is it actually going to take for you to get it? Where is it actually coming from? Is it going to be from, domestically here, or is it going to be internationally? So that's kind of the big scheme of things, is actually getting the order stuff in. Kind of what I really want to talk about is when it actually hits the door, why is that so important? And a lot of people, a lot of executives, they don't really care. It's like a movie. Most people, all they want to do is watch the movie. They don't care how many outtakes there are, how many times you have to rerun a scene. All they want to do is sit down and watch the movie. And me, I like to get behind the scenes and make sure that, this is all the work that goes into making the movie. And this is all the work that goes into making sure that the end customer gets their product on time, every time.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Follow Brand Podcast. A lot of people ask me where I am from. I am from Omaha, Nebraska. Like, Omaha, Nebraska, where isn't that? Yes, it is in the Midwest. No, I didn't grow up around a bunch of cornfields. I live in a very urban area. And one of those people that I grew up with that I remember from way back. And the only person who has called me Steve, yes, Steve was my name in high school. He reminded me of this, and I was like, who is Steve? Yes, I'm Grant McGaw, but I was Steve McGaw back in high school. And Tony Evans, who we're going to talk to you right now. Now, Tony Evans was like, everybody remembers a guy like this. He was the high school jock, right? He's the Mr. Football. He's gone around with the varsity jacket, and he just looked like he's got the world on his shoulders, and he can do, and that was my guy. Tony Evans, I looked up to my guy. I love me some Tony Evans. I've known him for a long time. We're talking 40 years in. He is now in Las Vegas, and he's gone through my personal brand strategy program. And he wanted to talk to me about what he does from a supply chain and logistics leadership position. And I felt this was a good discussion to have on the podcast because a lot of people came through COVID and they understood they couldn't get product. I was in that world. I was in IT, information technology. We couldn't get anything from a server to a chip to just about anything. It was just everything was shut down or very much delayed. And it brought a lot of focus to what really happens behind the scenes in the supply chain, logistics, and distribution world. So I want to introduce you to Tony Evans and allow him to kind of step us through some of these things. You want to welcome yourself, Tony?
Hello, everyone. My name is Tony Evans, as Grant mentioned. I also am originally from Omaha, Nebraska, now living in Las Vegas, Nevada. I've been here for about 15, 16 years. And my claim to fame is, warehousing, supply chain, distribution, inventory management. It's kind of my specialty in transforming processes or challenges into efficiencies or excellence. So, it's an opportunity, great opportunity to talk with Steve or Grant. I still use that because, again, we go way back, and that's kind of how I know him as. So I can get away with that because I knew him back when. So
that is so true. And I respect that because it brought back so many different memories of that time frame of growing up. And I really enjoyed my childhood. I thought it was very, very, very good. And it was good for us to reconnect. And you really educated me by behind the scenes, like talking to my kids about this. We think things just show up. You go to Amazon, you click on a button. You know what? I like this particular product, and I want it at on my door in 2 hours, maybe, or a day or 2 days. We're just so used to this instantaneous way of getting things, not knowing behind the scenes there's a very intricate process of logistics and procurement, and so they call it supply chain and distribution. Help us understand how things really arrive at our doorstep.
Well, again, it's forecasting, of course, understanding what your products are, what the time span is between when you order something, how long is it actually going to take for you to get it? Where is it actually coming from? Is it going to be from, domestically here, or is it going to be internationally? So, that's kind of the big scheme of things, is actually getting the order stuff in. Kind of what I really want to talk about is when it actually hits the door, why is that so important? And a lot of people, a lot of executives, they don't really care. It's like a movie. Most people, all they want to do is watch the movie. They don't care how many outtakes there are, how many times you have to rerun a scene. All they want to do is sit down and watch the movie. And me, I like to get behind the scenes and make sure that, this is all the work that goes into making the movie. And this is all the work that goes into making sure that the end customer gets their product on time, every time. And a lot of that, again, once it hits the door, is being able to receive it in on a timely manner. Once you receive it into a specific location, it's making sure that it's in that location. There's so many times when an individual will go to a location, the product is supposed to be there and it's not there. So inventory accuracy is extremely important. How you slot your inventory is extremely important. How you pack your inventory is extremely important. And a lot of people today don't want to get into the roots of how that is done. And there are a lot of ways of doing that. I believe that one of the most efficient ways of doing that, again, is having expectations, having the product where it's supposed to be, having the people, understanding that, these are the things that we need, that we can control, and have them control those things also and stuff. A lot of that's incumbent upon your ERP system. Some people are still, believe it or not, in 2024 paper-based, which kind of blows my mind. At one point when I was with the company, in the gaming company, we started with, a paper-based. Our inventory accuracy was only 24% inventory accuracy. So you go to that shelf expecting something, wasn't there. So, incorporating daily cycle counts, incorporating technology that will drive you specifically to a location where anytime you move something, there's some type of transaction. So it's not just picking something off the shelf and saying, here you are and stuff. It's all about, again, making sure that there's a transaction which tracks that product from the shelf to the end customer. And there's a lot of methodologies that go into that. We do a lot of Kaizen events, which are process improvement events. And basically, the fundamental principle behind a Kaizen is just to eliminate the waste, because it's not only important how you store your inventory, it's where you store your inventory. As an example, so just imagine this, in one of the Kaizen events we did. So just imagine a supermarket, okay? And you're just looking at two aisles. One aisle is aisle one aisle is aisle two, and you know what the distance is. So your most popular items, so your workers, they're walking up and down the aisle constantly, and they're picking products, okay? And in one of our Kaizen events, it was like, we actually tracked one guy picking something. He actually walked almost a mile and a half just picking about 10 different items. A mile and a half picking 10 different items up and down the aisle, going back and forth, back and forth. So, on a very high level, if you slot that inventory where all your high volume items are at the front, instead of way in the back of the aisle, then just imagine you don't have to walk back to that aisle 10 different times. Everything's up front. You pick it, you pack it, and then you ship it. So, and that's eliminating waste. That's called eliminating travel time, reducing the travel time that a person spends, having to go back and forth and everything. So that's just one really high level example of how you reduce waste, how you slot your inventory, and making sure that, again, you're making it most efficient for the guys who are actually picking the product and then shipping the product in the same area as well.
I like that. There's a process and a methodology behind everything and understanding. Now, there's some new technology that's afoot. And I saw this recently. I think it was during last holiday season. And they show like in an Amazon warehouse where they've got robots actually going and picking the products. And not only that, they were showing ways where you would think certain items would be placed, and then these items are in different locations in the warehouse. And because that, maybe to your point, that Kaizen, that how they would pick certain things and make sure certain things are available. So if you're on a Walmart floor or a Kmart floor or something like that, it's easier to make things happen. But I want to really focus on, do you think yourself robotics would be a benefit for certain warehouses or a detriment over time?
Well, again, I think it's a benefit depending on your type of warehouse. There's different types of warehousing. Some people are very manual in their process, and they haven't adapted to a lot of the new robotics, the AI information. A lot of their ERP systems are homegrown, so they don't have all the functionalities that one would like. The one ERP system that I'm very much accustomed to is Manhattan's warehouse management system, where it's more or less like the Cadillac of all, ERP systems. So that's the one that I'm most familiar with, but you have Oracle, you have ShipHawk, there's a lot of different things that are out there that are very good. So it really kind of adapts to what your business is and what your volume is, because volume plays a significant important on the type of ERP system you have. If you're really high volume and you're putting out thousands and thousands of orders a day that you have to pick, then robotics is very important and stuff. But if your volume is probably less than 1,000, you probably don't need to go that high end in terms of what your methodology is or what your picking process is. You don't probably need robotics. Amazon, they send out thousands and thousands of orders a day, so they have to be really, really efficient. They got conveyor systems, they got checkpoints, they have all kinds of things that are there. Some of the smaller processes or some of the smaller companies, they're not at that level, and these things are very costly also. So you're gonna have to gauge where you are within your process, what your volume is, what your forecast is, and then you have to kind of scale your process to what that is.
Let's talk about people. You are a people person, and we were going through the process of developing your brand, which is phenomenal. Matter of fact, I was very impressed with your background, and you kept stating this over and over again. Like, Grant, I am about people. It's about the people that actually do the processes to make things work more orderly. And I need to understand the people and what they're about and what's happening, because you could be in a stressful situation. You never know what's going on with life. As they say, life be life. Things happen with living things. And help us understand from a leadership perspective how that you approach your department.
Well, so my leadership is more of a servant leadership attitude. I believe I'm there to serve the people. I am there to move the obstacles out of their way, making sure that they have the right tools in their toolbox so they can do their job. But along with that comes expectations as well. So it's making sure, number one, everyone understands what their role, what their responsibilities are, what our obligation to the customer is from shipping out on time, every time. So it's also about making sure that they have ownership of their process too. In a lot of cases, a lot of individuals or a lot of companies kind of look at people as just disposable assets. And I value people, so I don't look at them as that. My job is to, again, provide the tools necessary for them from a personal standpoint and also from a professional standpoint. Getting them involved in a process, getting their buy-off on certain things. It's not just my way or the highway. It's like, what is your perspective on these particular things? And I know that, a lot of companies, they don't feel that way. They just feel like, this is the direction that we're going and, you're going to do it my way. And I just found that is not necessarily the most productive and the most efficient way of getting the most out of individuals and stuff. I believe that, again, getting them involved, getting their buy-in. When we have these Kaizen events, they are very much a part of the process of changing. It helps motivate them knowing that when there's a cost savings or there's ways that they improve the process, that they were very much a part of that it was their ideal or their concept, or they contributed to that concept. So to me, again, it's making sure that you have people who are engaged, and not just engaged, but also you have to make sure that they are in the right position. I kind of attribute that to, I coach, a lot of little league football, and, everybody wanted to be the running back. Everybody wanted to be the quarterback. And you have to be realistic with them and saying, look, son, you're not quarterback material. You're more of a wide receiver, or you're more of a running back. And even in a running back, it's like, you need to understand what kind of running back you are. You're a slasher, but you are, just drive up the middle and stuff. So don't be out there trying to dance and everything. I need you to hit the hole. I need you to go. So it's putting people in the right positions to make them successful also, and being able to identify that and, again, help them build upon that. To me, that's very important.
100%. Tony, I wanted to be running back, but they didn't put me in.
You contributed in other ways.
I contributed to the stands. I was out there. I was watching. Well, that was great. That was great. I want to talk about when you're in a room and you're talking to the other department heads, and I know this happened during COVID, where the supply chain was a problem. The supply chain was fundamentally broken around the world. People just could not get product at all. Forget about on time. It just wasn't available during the COVID timeframe. But I think it spotlighted a lot of people, and especially in your position, you had to have those hard discussions, either internally or even externally, with clients, letting them know it's when it's going to arrive, and here's the reason why. How do you have those discussions, those hard to fathom discussions, when people are very atypical and I want it now, I'm used to having it now, then it's not going to be now.
Well, those were some very difficult times. But during those times, you still had your SLAs. And to be honest with you, the people who really didn't care about what your reasons were. They didn't really care about the fact that, stuff was stuck on boats out at sea or in the ports. They didn't really care about that. They wanted their stuff. And so from a leadership standpoint, you had to be proactive, knowing that what was coming down the line. So if you're only looking 6 months out, and everyone knew that COVID was, this big nasty thing that was coming, and no one knew how long it was going to be, you had to have, your main source and your secondary source. And what complicated that is everybody had to have that. And so, everybody was at the peril of, waiting for shipments to come in from wherever they were coming from. But you did your best in terms of, again, the orders that were coming in, was communicating that, we're still going to get these orders out, whether you had a 6-week or 8-week lead time, and that was from the gaming industry. It took us about 6 weeks to actually, when the order came in, for us to push an order out. From the supplement industry, it was, same day. So you had to make sure that you had the products on hand and stuff. And then, our procurement team did an excellent job of just, in advance procuring more than enough that what we actually needed. So we didn't really run into that particular type of issue, because we had the foresight to know that, again, the stuff that a lot of our stuff was coming, from overseas. So we, again, prepared for that. We overstocked a lot of it, which caused other problems in terms of how we're going to store it and where we're going to store it. But it was a good problem to have in that particular circumstance. Other companies, again, it's just, one of the main things that most companies kind of fail or have issues with is forecasting. They don't forecast very well. And I would say that's probably one of the main weak points in the supply chain, is people don't necessarily forecast very well, or they don't anticipate, if there's going to be some kind of different sale that's coming on, or, some new product introduction, or again, things like COVID can happen and stuff. So it's being able to look out, far enough that you have the opportunity to recover. You have secondary and sometimes tertiary sources available to you. So you're always prepared. And to me, that's the key, is being always prepared, always looking, not looking behind you, but looking in front of you and looking beyond that as well and stuff. Other things that can come and, bite you.
Man, I think this is so important. And I understand, like, we're going back to that technology discussion. There's things that are happening now. And I don't know if you've been exposed to it or not, but if you can speak to it, just where you're at, your experience. When you have things that are coming down like IoT, Internet of Things, that you can track things more efficiently now with these QR codes, RFID trackers. There are new blockchain technologies to make sure that things can be traced, so you kind of know where they're at specifically in transit. There's geospatial GPS type systems, because you're dealing seriously with trains, planes, automobiles, because everybody, where's my stuff? So you got to kind of know where it is, especially if it's coming from a foreign country, and where is it located. Sometimes a lot of people now, they do have these systems. You kind of see where your things are in transit. How is that changing the industry, and how are you taking advantage of that?
Well, no, that's a very good question. So it's having good partners, supply chain partners, trucking company partners, things of that nature and stuff. Because again, the information is out there, and it's all what you put into it, and all what you expect, and all what you demand. Because right now, some of the trucking companies that we work with, we have weekly and monthly meetings. We have shipments that we're expecting, and if there's something wrong with those shipments, we get automatic emails saying, hey, there's a storm, it's going to be delayed, for X amount of days and stuff. So I get automatic updates all the time. So nothing is ever a surprise to me or anyone else that, hey, what happened to this? We were expected in on this particular day. And if something is late, then we can make the adjustments and communicate up front that, hey, this may cause some issues, but, we have some other stuff in reserve. Kind of, pushes you up to the edge and stuff. But again, it's information that's available. I think everybody should be using that type of information. If it's not in your supply chain, it should get in your supply chain, because again, you want to know every step of the way where your inventory is, if it's going to be delayed, and the reasons for it's going to be delayed. Particularly during the winter months, particularly when you even look out, didn't have such a bad winter this year back out east and stuff. But I remember in days past when you had a lot of trucks coming from back east, and they were stuck in the snow and stuff. So it was good to know that the reasons why, when to expect it, so you can again communicate that moving forward to the necessary individuals and stuff. So everybody was on the same page, and that's what's very critical, is just being on the same page. In logistics and supply chain, communication, and over communication is the key to success.
Hello, leaders and visionaries. Are we ready to exceed our ambitious goals for 2024? At 5-Star BDM, we're your strategic partners, not just futurists. To the trailblazers in business development, healthcare, and IT, you need a path to realize your vision for growth. Our tailored consulting services are your stepping stones to success. We empower you to build brands, deliver results, and captivate audiences. In healthcare and IT, innovation is progress. At 5-Star BDM, we ensure your operations beat with precision, efficiency, and care. Join those who shape the future. Connect with us today. Let's set the stage for a defining quarter. With 5-Star BDM, it's not just business development, it's a beacon of excellence.
So you've heard it from Tony. Now we're going to see, now that's kind of like, you're playing a game. we both love football, right? You have a game plan. This is the plan. Everybody knows the plan. Every play you draw up goes for a touchdown. When you look at the playbook, it's touchdown. Because they're not saying, like, you know what, there's this other thing on the field, the other team. There's always some resistance. There's always something that's going to upset the playbook of what's going to happen. I want you to help us. Tell us a story in which you had, there were unseen challenges that came on the scene, that you had to do something that was above and beyond, and you were able to have a successful outcome.
So, for example, when I started working for this company called Designs for Health, and there was a supplement company, one of the things that we had issues with was we had an enormous amount of overtime. Even though we were getting product out on time, it was a strain on everybody, particularly on Mondays and Tuesdays, because we worked a Monday through Friday schedule. So when they would come in, and we were a mid-sized company, and so when we would come in, they would come into, 700-800 orders a day on Monday and Tuesday. And then as the week went on, it kind of just trailed off into, maybe 300-400 orders a day and stuff. And that was just at one location. We had multiple locations. So the problem was, again, we were more of an e-commerce company, and those orders came in on the weekends also, but we were only working Monday through Friday. So one of the things that I did was just change the schedule. And, of course, there was consternation when that happened, because we went through a 7-day work week. But the beauty of that was that some people got to work a 4-day 10-hour workday. So you had a Sunday through Wednesday, a Wednesday through Saturday, and then you had the Monday through Friday. And so basically you had coverage the entire week. So being able to do that, and no one thought it was going to work. And there was a lot of rumbles and grumbles and things of that nature and stuff. But they found out that, number one, when they came in on Mondays and Tuesdays, it was just another day, because they didn't come into 800-900 orders and stuff. They came into standard orders, 400 or 500 orders is all week long and everything. So that was a comfort to them, that they didn't dread that. They didn't dread that, because again, we had people working the weekends. We level loaded the workload. We streamlined, again, do a lot of other different Kaizens. We made it a lot more efficient, or more sustainable. And, everybody was happy about it. Some people were working there, again, only 4 days a week, even though it was 10 hours a day. To them, that was a payoff for them to have that extra day off. And some people just liked to working the Monday through Friday. So they maintained their 5-day work week, 8 hours a day. The overtime actually disappeared. And, we were a lot more profitable. The people were a lot more happy, just from, again, just making a change that sometimes people are against change, but change is for the good. And I would always encourage everybody to embrace change. Don't be scared of change, because, again, that is one of the things that, can drive success. And, in doing so, bring the people along, let them communicate to them what's happening and why it's happening and how it's going to benefit them in the long run.
Man, that's a great story. That shows, and you had to talk to your senior management, because there's a lot of, at stake there. When you're moving things around, it's human resource. You had to get in there, talk through all of that. Now, were you doing financial projections? I mean, how did you sell that to the company to get them to buy in?
Well, they've been looking for something, because, again, they knew that they were struggling also. So, and they didn't know how or why it couldn't happen. They didn't know how to do it, or no one came up with a solution of how to do that. So again, when I came in, it was just basically, again, I think one of the things that one of my superpowers is just being able to look at a process, identify what the problem is, and then fix the problem. So it wasn't so much that it had to be sold to anybody. It was just like, hey, we're glad that somebody has at least an ideal that we can at least try and attempt and everything. And along with that, again, the projections of, reduced overtime, the cost savings of that. And actually, we were able to do more with less as well.
Man.
And yeah, and then we, allocate those other resources to other aspects of the business where we didn't necessarily have to hire anybody. We just filled them with, again, reallocating resources. So it was a win-win across the company, big time.
Well, that's a big feather in your cap, but you saw the company dilemma and you came in and did what you needed to do. You saw the problem, you saw how you could solve it, and you rolled the dice, said, look, we can do this staggered schedule, we get people on board. But you had to have buy-in, and you can't just do it all by yourself. Everybody's got to buy in on this and then execute on the idea. And at the end of the day, you see better employees, better drop to the bottom line, and it seemed like a happier workplace to be in. So I think that's great.
Absolutely. When a day becomes just another day, that's a beautiful day. Simple as that.
There you go. You said it. In the supply chain world, you don't like to have those upsets and things go differently. But I understand things happen. You lose power at locations. Now, you said something. I want our audience to understand that you're managing not just one location. A lot of times you've got locations in other parts of the country, possibly in another country of itself. How do you, as the department head, understand, because you have different situations in different locations and you have to solve them in different ways? How does that work?
Well, so yeah, so I've been responsible for multiple warehouses in multiple locations domestically and internationally. And again, it's the communication. It's making sure that everybody understands what the message is, what the singular message is, what the expectation is, and then making sure that, again, everybody's on board with that. And then you're holding people accountable for that. And I think that accountability is the core to success as well. You have to set the standard. You have to, try to, exceed the standard also. But again, it's making sure that everybody understands what that is, and then you have your daily, weekly, monthly meetings with everybody. You establish what your metrics are, which is extremely important because that's going to tell you, how healthy your business is. If you don't have metrics, you need to develop metrics, your on-time metrics, your inventory accuracy metrics. There's all kinds of metrics that are out there and stuff that a company should govern itself by. So exactly, and you share that not just with yourself, but you share that with them also. You put boards out, portable boards out there, so it's readily available, so everybody can see how well that they're doing. In the past, a lot of companies wanted to keep a lot of that information to themselves, but to me, it's important for the people to understand exactly, how they're doing, how they're being measured, and, being able to see on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, if I'm gonna have to do overtime, are we hitting our goals? Are we not hitting our goals? And they take ownership of that and they take pride in it to make sure, again, that they're hitting those daily metrics also.
Let me ask you, this is because some of my supply chain people, they're going to want me to ask you this because other departments affect supply chain, meaning like procurement. And what I mean by that is that, let's say you had a certain product that you had been sourcing for a long time and it's been working great. You knew the scheduling and you had a relationship with the vendor of choice. And then all of a sudden you find out that someone else is now choosing a different vendor. We're going to go a different way. You may or may not know about that particular choice. So it's a whole new package and you got to start all over. And all of a sudden now you realize they dropped the ball. I mean, they're not very good in their communication. They're not very good on their shipments. They're just very unreliable. How do you now have those hard discussions to let people know what the situation is?
Well, they can be hard, but they don't have to be hard. So again, when you're establishing, vendor relations, there should be a scorecard. And as long as you're, holding them accountable to the scorecard, there's not much to say if they're not, measuring up. You just say, this is a scorecard. They're not giving me my stuff on time. They've fallen below this threshold. We need to do something about this. So the results speak for themselves. So it's not something that you have to get and you have to, start banging heads with anybody. It's a matter of, again, this is the company, this is the company objective. These are the goals that we set for our vendors. These are our expectations. Are they meeting them or are they not meeting them? And if they're not meeting them, then again, the results speak for themselves. And then you have to make the necessary adjustments and have that conversation with the vendor and saying, look, this is what our contract says. You're not living up to the contract. So, this is what we're going to do. Either put them on probation, start sourcing from somebody else. And generally, again, when you have that customer vendor relationship, and they understand that, things usually work out well and stuff. So it reduces any confrontation that one might perceive that's necessary, because again, communication, understanding what the expectations are, and everyone is on the same page.
I like that you set the expectations early, that if you're going to do business with us, here is the criteria, here's the process, here's our scoring arrangement, this is what we're looking at. And if you don't meet these metrics, these are the steps that could be taken. So all this up front. So there should not be any angst around the communication, because it speaks for itself. I've heard you say a couple of different things tonight as we have spoken around leadership, around measurement, and around accountability. I like those things, and it shows that you look at things from a holistic view, and that you can now manage from a very secure point, because you know exactly where, from the beginning to the end. This is how we started the discussion. You're writing a book, matter of fact. Don't let the audience know that. Tell us just a little bit, first of all, about that book and why it was important for you to write it.
So the book is called, I'm glad you brought that up. The book is called If This Box Could Talk. And it kind of centers around some of the conversations that we're having now. Whereas, again, people don't understand or appreciate how a box actually gets to them. They don't care about the movie. I mean, yeah, they don't care about what it takes to make a movie. They just want to sit down and watch the movie. So it's the same thing if this box could talk, what are the intricacies of how do we get this box to the customer on time every time? How do we pick it? How do we pack it? How do we make sure that, we're using the most efficient way of shipping it to the customer? So the book just kind of goes into the details of how that process is from, again, if you have a traditional warehouse, or if you have a manual warehouse, or if you have a very automated warehouse, using dashboards, using, going paperless, using handhelds that will basically, all you need to do is to scan, and it's going to take you to each location in an orderly fashion and stuff, making sure that your inventory is slotted in a manner that, I'm not having to go up and down the aisle 5 or 6 times because, my top 100 or 200 items are, right here in front of me. And all I have to do is just pick it, turn around, and, give it to the guy to ship it out the door. So, those are the things that are very important and stuff. And that's kind of what the book is about, is, again, how do we be as efficient as possible? And how do we make sure that it's sustainable? And then again, it's not just living and resting on today's laurels, but how do we get better tomorrow and stuff also.
Follow the Brand TV broadcast host, Grant McGaw, as he visits with top executives and entrepreneurs to find out their secrets of success with their personal brand. Follow the Brand TV broadcast host as he focuses on brand development to build better relationships, bring value to your business, relationships, and career. You will enjoy listening to each episode that is tailored to speak to you directly. If you're looking for this type of clarity in terms of building your brand, you have tuned into the right station. Each episode will help you to shape a conversation in the 5-star BDM network of 20,000 professionals and become a springboard for your corporate engagement and business opportunities. Each guest will frame their story in the areas of personal branding, business development, career development, financial empowerment, and technology innovation. Grant McGaw explains why he is the CEO and owner of his own professional career. Grant is an accomplished business leader and entrepreneur who wants to give back to individuals to grow their personal brand strategy. Tune in as he weaves his story about new possibilities, while to you exceed expectations. If you love storytelling, this show will make for fun.
That's very important. I like that. We're going to definitely have you. I think you'll probably be out next year. We'll get the audience to take a look at that. I'm sure it'll be available on Barnes & Noble and things of that nature. Definitely look up Tony C. Evans. So
the Tony Evans way, the Tony C. Evans way.
There you go. I like that.
Transforming challenges into excellence.
That's it. Now we're going to go back to, you went through this process. I want you to tell the audience what you feel you gained out of working with me over these last 4 weeks for personal brand development, and kind of what you were thinking before you started the program and how the outcome came on the other side.
Yeah. So, again, we go way back, and, I was, seeing you on LinkedIn, and I said, I'm just going to reach out to Grant and, to see what he's all about and everything. And, I was kind of unsure because, you got a lot of people that are out there, kind of selling their services and things of that nature and stuff. So, some are just in it for the dollars. Some offer a good product, some may not offer as a good product. So when I started talking to you, number one, I trust you. So, because we go way back. And as the process began and everything, it was very intuitive, it was very detailed. I thought that you offered something that, number one, you wanted to get to know me, what was important to me, what I felt was, or how I felt about, the business, how I felt about myself, how I felt about my career, where it was going. And talking to you, I guess I didn't really have a brand. I had an ideal, but I didn't really have a brand. And, going through your process and everything and answering a lot of and very intuitive questions and stuff, and then letting your team do what they do, we put out a product that was, I was kind of blown away. You asked me to write a story about myself, and I thought it was pretty good. But then when you came back and you kind of listened to what I said, kind of read what I did, when you read it back to me, your version of it, I was blown away. My wife was in the background. She said, who are you talking about? So, it was very, again, very intuitive. It was very accurate. And I'm very, happy that I went through this process and everything, because I think that you and your team did an outstanding job. I would recommend it to anybody and everybody who's out there listening and stuff, that, when you look at, again, the product that you give, the profile, I think a lot of people will be amazed of, number one, how marketable they are using your system, your process, your intelligence, your knowledge of, what you've been doing for, quite some time and everything. And, I am 100% confident that they will be thrilled that they chose you as well.
I 100% agree with that, of course, but I'm a little biased. But the thing I liked about working with you, and I've seen this in other clients or potential clients, or just people in general, they don't know their value in the marketplace. They might have a certain idea, like an employer is going to pay you what they can afford to pay you. That doesn't necessarily mean that's your value. And when you work with me, I'm going to look at your value on a national scale. What is your value on a national scale with the skills that you have? Remember, the first thing we went through was a skills gap analysis.
Right.
Let's look at who you are and your tenure, your skill set, what you're able to do, and then pair you up with others in your field you may or may not know in the nation, and see how you scale up whether you're going to be someone that's at the same level as you, someone is a level down, or someone a level up, or 2 levels up. And then what do you need to do to scale up? And
Right.
when you saw that, I could see that, like, yeah, okay, I was thinking that. Yep, you know what? You validated some of those things. Yep, you know what? I need to showcase some of these other things, and I wasn't doing it. Even though you had your resume, you had your CV, you had some other things, but now you're bringing it all together because now you understand what it looks like, the competitive level on a national scope, and then you see where you rest. And some people realize, I just didn't realize I was that valuable to another organization that doesn't have the experience, like what you kind of alluded to. You came into that one organization and you were able to solve their problem because you understood it right off the bat. Wow. So for the right fit, the right organization, you're ideal. And when you understand that, you can go a long way.
No, absolutely. And I think what a lot of people will gauge from this also is, you have a lot of people who are very intelligent out there and they do a lot of business and they understand the business. And, like me, we do SWOT analysis and things of that nature from a business perspective, but I never thought about doing it for myself. And that's one of the things that you did. And I was like, I never really equated doing a business analysis to a personal analysis. And you brought all that together and everything. And I thought that was really dynamic because it exposed a lot of my characteristics that, again, that were more or less hidden or I wasn't using to its fullest potential. And you brought a lot of that potential out.
I like that. And then you got your colors. And remember, we went through the brand archetype.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. Get the many phases of Tony. And I encourage anybody that's interested in the personal brand, I call it the Brave Brand Blueprint Strategy, especially for personal branding. I do it for businesses as well, is that you will get a good in-depth study. You're going to get a step-by-step process in which you can elevate your brand over the next, however you want to institute. I always say the biggest problem I had usually with clients, they don't implement it. You've got to do the work. And you know that as Coach Evans, like, that football ain't gonna move itself.
No, that's true. That there's a lot of people want to be able to things handed to them, and the roadmap is handed to you. You just have to follow the roadmap and do the work also and stuff. So there's still some work that I need to do. So, but I'm definitely further along than I would have been without you. So I definitely appreciate your efforts, you and your team. I think you've done an outstanding job. It's a fantastic product. And again, I would recommend you to everybody that sees this and listens and stuff.
Well, I thank you, Tony. And the audience, how do they get in touch with you, especially the people out there that have supply chain issues? Like, I need Tony Evans on my team. How do they get in touch with you?
So again, you can follow me on my LinkedIn. Just look up Tony C. Evans and stuff on LinkedIn and stuff. Or, my email address, tcevans@912@yahoo.com. So those are the best ways to reach out to me.
Excellent. And your audience can reach out to me at 5-Star BDM. That is the number 5. That's star, STAR, B for brand, D for development, M for masters.com. This has been wonderful, Tony. Can't wait to see you again, hopefully in Omaha, Nebraska.
Absolutely. Omaha Day.
Omaha Day, that's right.
Man, who's your favorite podcaster? Man, Grant, man. I love Grant's podcast. Well, who's Grant? I'm going to send you the link. I love Grant.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to say that speaking with Grant is always a wonderful experience. He makes conversation feel light and comfortable, like speaking to a friend in a bar, more or less. He managed to create intimacy in matter of minutes, which is something that I believe technology is not yet able to generate and create and to reach such a level. And I certainly hope that it will never be able to reach that level. But this is always wonderful to speak with Grant, and I truly recommend it. Thank you, Grant.
Grant, I'll tell you why I'm here, right? I'm here because I love your brand.
Thank you.
When we started chatting on LinkedIn, we connected. I checked you out and I go, man, this guy knows what he's talking about. And that's why it's been an honor to be part of this podcast, because number one, I love to connect with you because I think you're a star. And number two, it's, for me, I want to give back, right? So this is moments like this where I meet with a fellow professional and we sit down and we talk and we provide value to the world.
5-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.
The Black Business Expo's mission is to raise funds for high school seniors going to college or K through 12 entrepreneurs. This expo is a fundraiser for students. Please, you may go to www.blackbusinessexpousa.com to donate to the scholarship fund or use the Cash App at $BBXUSA. Our goal is to give laptops and up to $5,000 to 10 students. Students can register online at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com. Every dollar counts. Please donate to the Black Business Expo USA Scholarship Fund. Tune in for our next show or click on our website at www.5starbdm/followthebrandtv. Thank you. Hey everyone, it's Grant McGaw, CEO of 5-Star BDM and host of the award-winning Follow the Brand podcast and TV series, where I help you to build a 5-star brand that people will follow. My genius is personal brand development through intelligent communication and helping you achieve your business and career goals. I am a requested speaker on digital technology and brand development issues. I want to work with you to increase the value of your current opportunities while attracting new ones. Every one of you is unique, and we all share challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. As a super connector, I work with you as an executive coach to guide you along the complicated business and career development road, providing the enhancement tools and information you need to succeed. Together, I will help you succeed in today's challenging business climate. I will evaluate and measure your progress. Best of all, I am right alongside you every step of the way. Build the brand called you. Genius.